Welcome to the book of Shmuel, Alef, chapter 19, Parak Yud Tet, where we see the hatred and jealousy of Shaul to David just explode and go way too far. Shaul tells the people around him, including his son Yonatan, that he is determined to kill David. He's determined to kill David HaMelech. And Yonatan comes to David secretly, Yonatan, the son of Shaul. He comes to David and he says, listen, my father wants to kill you. He says, but let me just confirm this for you. Come out to the field, hide there. I'm going to go and speak to my father about you, and we'll see what he says. So Yonatan is kind of a double agent. As they're standing in the field, Yonatan and his father Shaul, Yonatan says, why do you want to kill David? He's such a nice guy. He defeated Goliath and the Plishtim, and he's done so much for you. Why try and kill him? And so Shaul is like, you know what, that makes sense. It's really, there's no point in me killing this innocent man. And so Shaul takes an oath, and he says, I swear he will not be killed. So Yonatan calls David, and he's like, you know what, my father decided to spare you, and he returns David to work in the royal palace. The Plishtim launch another attack against Bnei Israel, and David creams them. Now this again causes something in Shaul's mind to kind of go wrong. He gets so jealous from David's victories, and as David is standing one day in the palace playing music, Shaul picks up his spear and tries to throw it at David. It's happened once before, and now it's happening again. And so David is able to dodge the spear and escape. He goes home. Now remember, who is David married to? Michal, the daughter of Shaul. So Shaul knows where he lives. And quickly, she says, Shaul sends guards to come to the house of David and Michal, where David is at. It's his own house. And Michal looks outside and she sees that the house is surrounded by guards. And she tells David, look, if you don't escape now, in the morning, first thing in the morning, these people will kill you. So Michal does two things. Number one is she lowers David from the window with a rope. Sounds like the story of Rachav and the spies that Yehoshua sent in the beginning of the book of Yehoshua. Number one, she sends David out the window with a rope. Number two is she takes terafim, dolls, statues, whatever it may have been. It's a word that's also mentioned in the context of Rachel stealing the terafim from Lavan. She puts these pillows, dolls, statues under the blanket where David usually sleeps. And she then takes a sheepskin and puts it near the pillow, making it look like David is still sleeping, like David is still in bed. Shaul sends his people to knock on the door. The house is surrounded, and they come to Michal and they say, please give us David. And she says, oh, he's very, very sick. And so Shaul has no mercy, and he tells his guards, go into the house, bring down his bed because I want to kill him. And so they come to the house, and what do they see? They see a bed with something that looks like someone in it. It's not someone in it. It's a doll, but they do that. Obviously, Shaul finds out about this spoof, and once the bed is outside, he takes off the blanket, and surprise, surprise, there's no David there. And Shaul turns to his own daughter, Michal, and he's like, wait, why have you done this? Why did you deceive me? And let me know that, let me think that this is David when it's not. And why did you help him escape? He's my enemy. So Michal says to her father something that's not true. He's like, she says to her father, David told me that if I don't help him run away, he's going to kill me. This is why I helped him run away. Meanwhile, David goes to tell the boss. Who's the boss? He goes to tell Shmuel Hanavi. He goes to the Ramah. Shmuel's already a bit older, and he's like, look, the king you appointed is trying to kill me. And so Shmuel goes together with David to hide. They go to hide in Nayot. Meanwhile, there's snitches. The snitches come to Shaul, and they're like, hey, David is hiding out in Nayot. So Shaul is like, you know what? Let's go get him from there. He sends soldiers to get David from Nayot. They arrive there, and who do they see? They see Shmuel the prophet with a group of prophets, and they too, the soldiers that Shaul sent, also become prophets. The Spirit of God suddenly rests on them, and they are prophesying. So they are not going back, and they're definitely not trying to kill David or Shaul. So Shaul sends another batch of soldiers, and the next batch of soldiers come to Nayot. They see Shmuel Hanavi there, and they see all the different prophets that are sitting around him, and they too become prophets. This happens 3 times. Finally, Shaul is like, I will go myself. He comes to the Ramah, which is where Shmuel Hanavi lives, and he's like, where are Shmuel and David? So they say to him, oh, he's in Nayot in the Ramah. And believe it or not, Shaul himself comes close to David and Shmuel, and he wants to kill David, but he too becomes a prophet. It's like a radar jammer. Yeah, someone comes close to you, and they have the prophecy of God on them, and they decide not to kill you. That's what happens. So he too becomes a prophet, and once again, people say, Hagam Shaul Benevim. That is chapter 19. So what did we have? We have Shaul telling Yonatan and everyone around him that he wants to kill David. Yonatan leaking this information to David, going to the field, asking his father not to kill David. Shaul agrees. David returns to the palace. In the palace, Shaul throws a spear after he sees how David is successful always in defeating Plishtim. He tries to kill David. David goes home to his wife Michal, and at night she notices that their house is surrounded. She tells David, he escapes through the window. Michal puts dolls and a sheep fur in the bed. When they knock on the door, she says David is sick. They take the bed out. They realize they've been scammed, and she tells her father, I'm sorry, I was afraid David would kill me, which is not true. David didn't threaten her to do this. And eventually David goes to Shmuel HaNavi, and he tells him what's going on. They both go to Nayot. In Nayot, everyone who comes in contact with Shmuel becomes a prophet. So the first, second, and third batch of soldiers that Shaul sends to kill David there also become prophet and decide not to kill David. And Shaul himself then joins them, and he too becomes a prophet. That has been chapter 19. We will see you in chapter 20, Perek Chaf.